You're probably here because you're searching for movements that you should be including in your strength training and weight loss training programs. Hello, my name's Andy. You've probably seen me on our other videos. We are More Than Muscle UK and we help you lose 5 to 10 kilos in 12 weeks. Now in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you the 7 exercise movement patterns that you should be including in your strength and weight loss training programs. Now the first movement pattern that you should be including in your workouts is some form of squat movement. Now this could be an air squat, a goblet squat, traditional movements on a barbell like a barbell back squat, a front squat. You may even delve into Zercher squats, safety bar squats, overhead squats. You could even include a buck squat. Using a squat within your program will help you build great strength through the lower extremities so that your legs, but the other thing that it's going to do is build good trunk stability and lots of force output so you can transfer this into life. But what it's also going to do is work a hell of a lot of muscle to get you stronger, but also aid your weight loss goals. The second fundamental movement pattern that you should be using is some form of hinge. Now, if you think about picking boxes off the floor, things we've spoken about in previous videos, the hinge is a primal movement pattern that most of us should be doing. So learning to hinge is going to transfer into life as well as enhance your gym exercises and output overall. So when we talk about hinging, we're talking about hip extension. So things like your 45-degree back extensions, your glute ham drives, your Romanian and stiff leg deadlifts, your conventional deadlifts, your sumo deadlifts. We're even talking about things like good mornings or kettlebell swings. Learning to hip extend will help you fundamentally in life. You could even factor in things like a low bar back squat, which bridge the gap between hinging and squatting. So including a hinge in your training program when we're looking at building good strength, good conditioning, and aiding our weight loss goals is primary. So the next movement that is essential in your training program is some form of pressing. Now I like to divide these into vertical pressing and horizontal pressing. So if you think about that as gym movements, your vertical pressing will be things overhead. Now this is a fundamental movement pattern again, putting things above your head, and we find so many people struggle with this movement pattern because of tightnesses and overall lack of overhead reach. So when we look at overhead work in pressing, we look at our military presses with a barbell or dumbbells. We look at our push presses. Now when we look at our horizontal pressing, we think about things like our bench presses, dumbbells or barbells. Now, when we're working through the spectrum of presses, if you think about a bench on an incline and it working all the way through its spectrum, you should include over the weeks different angles of pressing from horizontal all the way up to vertical. And this will serve you well for things like shoulder health, all-round strength development, and better output for your shoulder health. We also include things like our body weight exercises, so our dips and our push-ups. These are primary exercises that we will be using and learning when we're factoring in our pressing exercises. So the fourth type of movement pattern that you should be factoring into your training programs is some form of pulling movements. Now, similar to your pressing exercises, we actually categorize these also in vertical and horizontal movements. So we might call this pull downs and rows. For example, chin-ups is an exercise that you would be doing vertically, your lat pull downs and all the different grips that you could be doing with your pull down mechanisms. You also will have your horizontal, your rowing. So you're going to have things like your seated cable rows, your chest supported rows, your inclined dumbbell chest supported rows, your single arm rows if you're looking unilaterally. But we put these into these two categories, but again, you should be thinking about factoring in some sort of pulling mechanism into your strength and weight loss programs. The fifth fundamental movement pattern that you should be including is some form of carry. And again, when we think about this in life, we're always carrying things, whether it's boxes, shopping bags, whether you're lugging things in and out of the car. You will be carrying things. So including some form of carry in your training program will serve you well, not only from a strength perspective, but from a conditioning perspective so that you can hold things for longer durations of time. And guess what? It will help you with your weight loss because it's quite metabolic. It's quite taxing. So things like your farmer carries, you can either do these with the farmer carry implements, but if your gym doesn't have these, you can also hold a heavy set of dumbbells or even the trap bar. You can load that up and walk it. You can also do things like suitcase carries, which challenge you laterally. You'll have to work your QLs, your quadriceps lumborum muscle, the muscle that helps us laterally flex. It's one that often spasms for people, but getting this nice and strong is going to serve us with our lower back. It's going to help us get stronger. And guess what? You're going to be able to do things for longer durations, which will serve us for weight loss purposes and just to live an all-round pain-free life. The other thing is grip strength will increase, and this will serve us in our pulling exercises, in our deadlifts, in our hinging exercises, anything that needs transfer in the gym that requires us to use our grip. You can also do overhead carries, sticking plates above your head and carrying those across a track. The other thing with your carries is you can put them in and around the ends of your workouts when you want a nice little finisher that is going to be metabolic enough to stimulate you. So when you're fed up of counting reps and sets, you can stick a timer on and pick a distance and get your head down and just work for a duration of time to get those heart rate variables, those heart rate conditioning energy systems nice and primed, and your health markers will increase as a consequence of that, alongside your fitness levels. The sixth fundamental movement pattern that should be included within a well-rounded structured training program is core exercises, but not any old crunches and core exercises. We're looking at things like planks. We're looking at things like Copenhagen's, things that you have to hold to bring nice stability through the body and increase your strength. This will have good transfer into when you have to brace, for example, when you're squatting and you're hinging. We'll also use things like rollouts. This has great eccentric strength when the midline of the body is stretched out and you have to have good strength through the center of mass. How many times in life do we pick things up in awkward positions and we need a good strong trunk to look after us? So things like your ab rollouts will help with that. And then you should factor in loads of anti-rotation stuff. So things that give us nice stability. Think about your dead bug exercises, your bird dogs, your Pallof presses. These anti-rotation exercises give us tremendous amount of stability. And when you think about pairing that with things like your carries and your hinges and your squats, you're going to be conditioned as a well-rounded individual to deal with a lot of the stresses and factors in life, but also to increase your athleticism within the gym so that you can do more and do more at higher intensities, so that can translate into your body composition and weight loss goals. Now, lastly, what you should also be included when we're thinking about movement patterns and selection of movement patterns within the gym is unilateral exercises. So if we think about the spectrum of everything we've spoken about, if we think about squatting, hinging, pressing, pulling, core exercises, carries, if we think about that and we factor in unilaterals, what we're going to get is a great amount of strength from left to right. It's quite common to see people have deficits from left to right. We're all dominant on one side. Hey, I'm dominant on my right. And so using unilateral exercises, although it might not actually change neurologically from your brain standpoint, it will offset the spectrum and the deficit of strength getting wider and wider. So including unilateral exercises into your program will serve you well. So think of things like your split squats, your lunges, your step ups, your single arm dumbbell rows and single arm dumbbell presses. Think about exercises like your suitcase carries that we've spoken about. These exercises will serve us well to bulletproof ourselves and make ourselves stronger all round. Another personal favorite of mine is using implements like prowlers and sleds. Because there's a locomotive factor to it, you will be using left and right simultaneously in a cyclical fashion, meaning it's unilateral, but because it's cyclical, there is a conditioning element to it. There's not so much skill requirement there, so you can lock it and load it and work, build good conditioning, build good strength, build robust joints and muscles around them, and again, aid your weight loss goal. So think about factoring those things in when we think about unilateral exercises. Now, there are two bonus movement patterns that I like to stick in, particularly true once we start advancing through our training programs and we get fitter, stronger, and more able. And these two things are, for me, two of the most primary things you could possibly do. And when we look at athletes, they're the most beautiful things, and that is jumping and sprinting. So when you become conditioned enough and strong enough to deal with the challenges and the forces that are associated with these highly forceful exercises, including lots of jumping and lots of running in terms of sprinting, will give us great output with our strength, our power, and most importantly for the guys on this playlist, it will help aid us with our weight loss goals. Now, these 7 fundamental movement patterns are key. You'll find them all over our training programs. Within this playlist, if you look at the workouts that we've been posting 3 a month. You're into your second month, so you should have had 6 from us by now. There'll be a further 3 being posted in the next month. You'll see sprinkled in all of them, in lower body and upper body fashion, you'll see plenty of squatting, plenty of hinging, plenty of pressing, plenty of pulling, loads of core work and some carry work, even if it's you carrying your barbell with regards to how long you're holding a trap bar deadlift, let's say. So you'll see these sprinkled in there. And the reason for that is we believe these are the fundamental movement patterns that everybody should be getting better at in life. It has tremendous transfer. It will help you in life. And we always find when people do things more efficiently and get stronger, they want to train, they want to do more. And as a sub of that, they move more in life, they lose more weight, they love training, and they feel a lot better about themselves. Now, sprinkled in with that, if you can actually work the energy systems associated with the body, you know, your aerobic system, your anaerobic system, your high-end CP system, creatine, phosphate, and power, if you can work through those whilst implementing these movement patterns, you will indefinitely get stronger, fitter, and more able. And this will serve you greatly in your weight loss goals. So remember, if you're liking these videos, please like, share, subscribe, but most importantly, leave us a comment, ask us your questions, and this is your opportunity for us to jump in, coach you back with our feedback and our expertise so that you can carry us forward and help you with your strength and weight loss goals. Now remember, if you want to work with us, there is a link in the description. Please click that link, enter your details, and someone from our team will be in contact to book you in for a discovery call so we can see how we can help you and get you working with us. See you on the next video.